Well, good morning, Facebook land. This is Mike George coming at you live from Columbus, Ohio, as part of my continuing series, Holy Shit, This is Columbus? And so, yes, for some of you Columbus veterans who might have either still live in Columbus or might have moved away from Columbus in the last 5 years, you might remember the classic arches of High Street, of what is known as the Short North, and what is now, shoot, I have to, I'm starting to sound cliche saying this, but I have to remind myself I'm still in Columbus and not in like Rotterdam or something like that, or Copenhagen or some weird modern European city with IKEA buildings. So yeah, I mean, some of you guys might recognize some of the older buildings here. This is sort of the southern section of High Street. And then we have this lovely creature here. I think this is one of the first of the sort of the 2015 plus sort of vintage of buildings that have sprung up here in good old Columbus, Ohio. And my goodness, I mean, and shoot, since then we have, this is kind of almost like kind of the typical type of structure you see. And then, I mean, there's IKEA buildings just along this entire stretch of High Street going all the way up to campus. It's kind of amazing. Fortunately, there are still some familiar relics. We got the Pearl here, got lemongrass, I think for now, for at least a few more months before they get priced out of the neighborhood. And then, shoot, I mean, what else we got here that I kind of recognize? I mean, you got the old Happy Greek restaurant, there are still some signs of the old Short North that we kind of grew to love. And then, much like everything else, change, I guess, right? Change, and more change. And I'm just gonna do a little stroll down High Street. This is kind of transitioning from the southern end of the Short North on through the convention center area and into downtown. And so, fortunately, enough of it has remained kind of the same to still have an idea of where the fuck I am here, but nonetheless, lots of exciting shit here in terms of new structures that have mushroomed up along the way here. And much like this hotel here, and this is actually, I think, one of the first ones to sort of pop up. This is kind of one of the older buildings that I guess by now. And then since then, oh gosh, I mean, we've had this big old Hilton building kind of pop up as well in the last, I want to say, 5 years. I think it's actually got the notoriety of being Ohio's tallest residential building, or maybe Ohio's tallest hotel at least. We got the cap over 670. I think that was sort of one of the first sort of developments that heralded the age, the modern age of, what we sort of think of as the Short North, which to my chagrin was built on top of what used to be the train station here that no longer exists, that only exists in name in the form of a gay bar with no tracks or passenger rail service whatsoever to speak of. Nothing like a good old slap in the face to me. So, anyways, yes. So yeah, I mean, Columbus has gotten quite beautiful, I must say. Though, me personally, as someone who's presently in the market looking for housing, I have to say it's a little bit intimidating, kind of seeing all these new kind of bougie developments coming up and wondering, how much am I going to have to pay for a one-bedroom apartment in this damn city right now at this time? So, but you know what? Let's be optimistic. There's always a deal to be found. You just got to know where to look and know who to haggle. So, I got the convention center over here. That's pretty much remained the same. Yeah, I think most of this is actually kind of. Yeah, I got a big old parking garage. Of course, we've expanded our parking garages to assuage all the complaints about parking, which will, of course, doesn't matter how many parking garages you build, people will still find a reason to complain about parking. Some things never change. I don't know when that cliche will ever go away. Never. So rest assured there will be some sort of foundational cornerstones that will remain indeed as part of Columbus's character. Excessively wide highways and complaints about parking. So yeah, beautiful day here. Got overcast skies, just enough to kind of filter out the the inconvenient UV rays of the sun and kind of give us some good lighting, But yeah, this Hilton, I have not actually been inside. I haven't really wandered inside this Hilton building, but it looks it's actually like a really nice building. I mean, I'm kind of impressed. Yeah, it's actually looks to be kind of an impressive building. It's not quite as cliche and as IKEA-esque as the other kind of things that have sprung up alongside it. So, it has a little bit of character and it kind of dominates the skyline in a really nice way, I think. So, yay, Columbus. And Columbus is still growing. I mean, we're not even, I don't think we're not even close to any sort of plateauing, of this development. And hell, I mean, I think they still have to build the Intel factory, for goodness sake. So once they get that finished, we're going to get a bunch more, probably professional, kind of young professional tech workers that are going to drive up further the price of rent here. Well, I'm hoping at least that kind of at least spreads around to some of the other neighborhoods and doesn't. I'm hoping Columbus kind of wisens up about spreading the wealth a little bit in terms of residential development. I mean, it kind of has to, I feel, at this point. But yeah, shoot, I mean, Columbus has gotten to be quite a marvelous city, and you know what? I know it's kind of become cliche that I complain about transportation and transit and all that, but, COTA deserves they deserve a lot of credit. I was telling a friend of mine yesterday that I believe COTA is actually, the COTA is essentially the transit authority that runs all these fine buses that you see zipping up and down High Street here. This is the number 2. This is one of the main sort of, it's kind of one of our, what I would call one of the spines of the bus network here in Columbus. And shoot, as much as I love to complain about transit in Columbus, I mean, hell, Columbus has gone leaps and bounds, and I don't think I've given enough credit, at least on Facebook here, as to what Columbus has done to really improve the quality of life, as far as pedestrians and non-motorists' life is concerned. So I really, I have to kind of give a shout out to the fine folks at COTA, as well as the kind of the associating organizations that, you got some of the regional development organizations that have kind of worked in tandem with COTA to really make Columbus sort of they've really, I think they've heard my prayers / gripes. And man, I mean, I have to say I'm very impressed. I'm very satisfied as a resident of Columbus as to see how the city has responded to this sort of challenge. So fuck yeah, Columbus, good job. Seriously, it's nice to see government respond to the needs of its citizens. So yeah, a lot to be proud of, I think, in this beautiful city. Look at this thing, huh? Let me get the hell off the street here. Oh my, gorgeous. Nothing like living in a modern utopian metropolis, guys. And shoot, on that note, I'm gonna continue to enjoy this Sunday morning here, taking a stroll along High Street. And yeah, wherever you are at home on Facebook land, make sure to get outside and say hello to your neighbors and appreciate the little things around you that you probably take for granted. And as I say at the end of every broadcast, take care of yourself, take care of yourselves, and take care of somebody else. Coming at you live from Columbus, Ohio on this beautiful Sunday morning, the 24th of September, 2023. This is Mike George. Arrivederci and toodaloo.